Yana, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so I'm not touching that phone. It is here on the committee page, and it is open. I don't know how it happened the last time, but I didn't do it. But go ahead. You said DJNA, most touches.
Yeah, I just thought a team that has the Bonner, Mabry, AT, and Bree Jones, Dejanay being the person that takes the most shots on the
Mm-hmm.
team, is not a winning recipe. And that's not saying she's not a great player. I thought Dejanay showed a lot of improvement this season. But she can't be the one taking the most shots on the team. She
Mm-hmm.
can't.
Lo, how do you feel about game?
I'm at work. I'll talk when I can.
Okay, okay. Yes, we love a good multitasker. All right, and so as we know that particular game did move us to that secured the final spot in the WNBA Finals, where we are um, where we have the New York Liberty and the Minnesota Lynx in a game that many thought was going to be unseasoned. But the first two games so far that we have witnessed probably turned a few people, it made them eat their words. I'm not calling any names at all, but game one was one of the most exciting games, and obviously the people are still watching because there was a lot of talk going around saying that nobody was going to watch the playoffs anymore. But the ratings says that that's not the case, and that's something totally different. And we love when the numbers can back up what we already knew before. So, Yana, game one, what were some surprises in that game for you?
Game one. Okay. I mean, I knew New York was gonna come out and get started early. And I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. I had to go back and rewatch the game because I turned the channel. Like, I was like, oh, this shit is like, I'm not watching this shit. Cause at a point I turned the channel, it was like an 18, 20 point lead. And I was just like, child, Minnesota don't even look like they trying, and they're probably tired cause they just played 2 days ago, and the W need to do a better job about that and give those girls more rest in between games, because Minnesota having to play a game 5 and then fly from Minnesota to New York to play in 2 days is ridiculous. But anyways, I was like, I'm about to go watch a movie and crash. And then y'all messaged in the chat and was like, Courtney motherfucking Williams. And I was like, wait a minute. Like, what the fuck? Like, I was like, oh my gosh, like, Minnesota just took the lead? What the fuck just happened? And so I had to rewatch it because I was like, ain't no way. But what, like, Kayla McBride was able to do in that game, big for them. Courtney Williams, she's a dog, game changer, energy, all that. Big bucket maker. Just seems like every time they need a bucket, she gonna make the bucket. And New York, they just like fell apart. I don't even know, like, they weren't making shots, but a lot of the shots they were taking were dumb shots too, very rushed and out of rhythm. And I thought that allowed Minnesota to kind of get back into the game. But it was an exciting game. After I found out how the ending was going to happen, I had to go rewatch and figure out what was going on. But it was a good game, good first game for sure.
Shay, what did you think about Miss Former Bust Down with the Lynx and how she led them to victory in game one?
You know, Courtney is just like, you just can't put words about how Courtney has changed the identity of this team. Like, obviously they can hoop, but adding Courtney just give them a different type of grit that you need to, win a championship. But yeah, they almost got walked down again in game two. And I was like, cause I think Tarika had said, yeah, it's a nervous energy in the gym. And I'm like, I bet it is.
And I
I
think
would have
at
been
that time
nervous.
when Tarika tweeted that New York had what was a pretty comfortable lead. I think they were still up at right like maybe 13 to 15 points. When she tweeted that, I was like, why they nervous? I mean, they got a good double digit lead. I mean, yes, game one did happen, but I'm like, oh, they should be good. I think they learned from it. But
But
damn,
I
it
think it's
almost happened
also
again.
important to note it wasn't just game one that this happened in. This also happened in the Commissioner Cup, New York had the lead in the Commissioner Cup, a pretty big lead, and then Minnesota walked them down and beat them in the Commissioner Cup. So game one wasn't the first time that Minnesota has walked New York down and beat them. And Minnesota's been like the one team that's been able to get the best of New York in several games this season. So honestly, I don't even trust big leads when it comes to Minnesota and New York anymore. And honestly, if I'm New York, I don't even want a big lead. Hell, you better off keeping the game close at this point because a big lead don't work for y'all versus Minnesota.
A part of me, I sat there and I remembered when Vegas was down about 12 with like 4 minutes to go. And I was like, they can do it. But they weren't able to do it. But that damn Minnesota, they did it though. So we're going to leave game one. We're going to go ahead to game two. And before game two, there was some news that was broken in regards to expansion draft. And no, you know what? We're talking about that later. Go ahead and talk about game two.
Game two is one and the same. As much as New York probably don't want, big leads, Minnesota can't keep getting down like that. Like, I know they were on the road and, at home it'll probably be different, but they can't keep giving New York like 18 to 20 point leads. I think they ran out of gas in the second half to try to come back. Um, New York did a better job of defending them, but I also think the difference maker was K-Mac not doing what she did in the first game. I think with New York, you have to be able to score. You're not going to be able to just stop them. And Courtney Williams and Fee and Alana Smith kind of did their thing, but Bridger Carlton, she's in a slump right now, and that doesn't help because she's kind of been like, to me, the one that's really been like the X factor in their New York Minnesota matchups this season. And K-Mac, she didn't do anything that she did in the first game. So, that didn't help
Do
New
we think
York
that the
at
foul
all,
trouble with
Minnesota at all.
Fee played into that?
No, not really. Yeah, Fee's foul trouble was an issue, but I think they still had their chances. I think if Bridget Carlton knocks down the shots that she's been knocking down all season that made Minnesota like so hard to defend, and if K-Mac's knocking down the threes that she's been knocking down all season, we're probably saying Minnesota's up 2-0 right now. They got good looks in the game. It wasn't like New York's perimeter defense was amazing. They got good looks. They just weren't knocking them down.
But now you have We
Yes.
Ride at Dawn. Finally. And she playing through injury, trying to help y'all win the championship. And good Lord, they needed, I think she went like, 10, 15 minutes over her minute total, and they needed every damn bit of it. Because
Yeah.
without
And they
her, they'd
said
have
she
been
only supposed to
down.
play in spurts. They said she only supposed to play in spurts, but it felt like she never walked off the court.
They said, well, what she did in the interview, she was like, yeah, I'm glad that shot finally kicked in. Like, sister, not on TV. No, please, please.
They
But
gave
not,
her that same shit they gave Jackie.
yeah. But not just hooping. I do want to give Fee her credit, though, because Fee is like, she's playing some of the best defense I've seen in the finals in a long
Yeah.
time. For her to be down there handling the paint like that, especially to have JJ ready to cry every 10 minutes, Fee doing her thing
Every
in that
1 minute.
paint. Her and Alana Smith is in that paint doing what they got to do.
I definitely listen. Alana Smith has like defensively wise, she shut me up for Minnesota because the biggest question for me when it came to Minnesota was a big next to Fee that can defend and take pressure off of Fee in the paint to be the only person down there banging, right? And when they got Alana, I was like, oh, Alana's good. I thought she played well for Chicago, but I was like, I don't know if that's somebody you can rely on to just bang constantly. And this season, she's been that. She's been the person that's just been like banging, and she get in foul trouble, but she's been the one that like, take the brunt of the hits, banging in the paint constantly with the Bree Jones and the Asia Wilsons and the JJs and all that, just to relieve a little bit of that pressure from Fee. And I think that's been huge. Like what she's been able to do has been super, super important for them.
Okay, and so we know that the next game, game three, they'll head to Minnesota. When you think of series like this, especially when you're starting out with multiple games on the road, I know when you talk to a lot of teams, their goal is obviously they would like to take both games, but it's always you hear, okay, we got to split this, take one, and then that way we can go and get that home court advantage back on our turf. So what do you think of the home court advantage now that Minnesota will have? We've seen it be very close games, right? And we've heard players so often mention, the energy that they get with playing in front of their own fans. So it's a little bit different than the Vegas series with New York because they came back home down 2-0. Now Minnesota has the opportunity of, not as much pressure because it isn't a 2-0 hole, but they get a chance to get a guaranteed two games in front of their home fans. Do you think that they're able to play more relaxed? What do you see happening in the next two games there in Minnesota?
Relaxed? No. It's the finals, right? New York's gonna come in and they're gonna be ready to go. They know, what their goal is and they know what they're trying to do, and it's not like Minnesota has come out guns blazing in each game so far. The crowd will have them juiced up and ready to go. But Minnesota has shown that they can also, get big leads and lose big leads too. Like we saw it in the Phoenix game where they were kind of juiced up at home and they were knocking down shots, and then Phoenix kind of came back in that game. We saw it in the Connecticut series. So, I think it'll be a good game again. I have no idea who's gonna win, cause I mean, it's the finals. You don't know. It comes down to your big shot makers making shots. Um, Sabrina honestly hasn't gone off yet in this series. But she hasn't really been able to go off as much versus Minnesota this season. So I'm interested to see what Sabrina can get going. Because I think she's big for them. So it'll be interesting. I think Minnesota will clearly have the crowd on their side, but New York's been a good road team all season, so
In New York, we'll have the announcers. Gotcha. Um,
they
but
will
serious
have Rebecca and Ryan in their pocket.
and Holly. But seriously, when you think about when you dang it, I lost my train of thought. Give me one moment. So in terms of X factors, I know you mentioned Bridget Carlton could be that for Minnesota. New York has a lot of different pieces that they could plug in. Is there one else on the Minnesota bench who may not have been used as much in this series that you think Cheryl could possibly pull out a big joker of sorts and throw them in there for the finals? Or do you think her rotation is really her set rotation? Or do you see her making any bigger adjustments than one that may expect?
She need to throw Maisha in there to bother JJ if JJ start going, or early to get in JJ head and just put her in there to be a bruiser. For real,
Okay.
for real.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's facts because JJ was guarding Stewie like she was on the Players Club. I mean, Maisha, she was just strong arming her ass in the back. Like, I dare you to shoot that shit. I dare you. Brick, rebound, push that hoe. Like,
JJ arms start flying up in the air like, bruh, what the fuck? Yeah. Yeah, I think as far as she's gone in her bench, that's about as far as she's going to go. And I don't no shade, but I don't really see a reason to go any deeper in her bench. I think she has the pieces that she needs and the rotation that she has. She probably could just play Maisha Hines Allen a little bit more to bother JJ some more. Um,
I saw she
but I
tried to
think
give
when like,
Dorka a few minutes. She did. I think, and it may
yeah,
have been like once the game was kind of out of reach a little. Dorka came in. I think there was a turnover shortly after or something. That's another body, at least for size. If foul trouble becomes an issue for Atlanta or Fee, I do think that she could very well go to using more Dorka and Maisha.
but I mean, it's at this point it's winning time, right? Like, ain't
Yes.
nobody trying to be off the floor unless I'm in foul trouble or something. So at this point, as the
I
season
thought
goes
Dorka was
on,
hurt.
she was for a little bit, and I think she's good to go now.
Oh, interesting.
What about New York? Do we think that there? Because I know game one it was more Kayla Thornton, but in game two it seems like Kennedy Burke played more. So has that? Do you see them just basically flip flopping throughout the entire series, or is there some other piece on their bench? I know I've seen some people. I think it may have been Yulo to mention maybe try to find minutes for Jalen,
Oh
at
yeah,
least
I
for
would.
that speed.
When they throw to Natisha in there, maybe Courtney sometimes, even just to bother them, if they just need a little spark, a little speed, I think they could use her because the thing about New York sometimes they could get a little flat footed. They could be a little slow. They big, they long, but then sometimes you're big and long, you run around kind of like Dumbo-ish, you know. And sometimes you just need somebody in there that's quick, speedy, can press up on the ball a little bit, get it, push it. And so I'm not saying no elongated minute. She's still young, you know. I mean, she's still a rookie, but definitely just throw her in there every once in a while, like maybe off a timeout, just to get some shit going. It got
Okay,
to be
okay,
strategic though. It got to be some shit like that. Like I'm gonna throw you in after this timeout. Let's run this play. Let's run it up. Let's press real quick, and then you know. But I don't know if Sandy got it like that, so I don't know. But that's what I would do.
okay. And so we know we got a few more. We know we at least have two more games in the final series. So I'm gonna put y'all on the hot seat. Everybody, give me your take. Who you think is going to get it done? We're going to start with you first, Shay.
Oh shit. I'm rooting for Courtney Williams, WNBA champion, to be a thing, but something tells me New York gonna find a way.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know, I've had New York all season, so I'm not gonna change it. But I just, eh, I always is so reluctant because sometimes they on it, sometimes they off. But I had them all season, so I'm gonna keep going with them.
Okay. How about you, Yana?
I got this going to game 5, and I think New York wins at home.
Okay. Okay.
Off of a bogus call, Yana.
Nah, I think they're gonna win hot, like low key. I think Sabrina's gonna struggle up until game 5. I think she gonna have her 14, 15 points in game 3, game 4, and then some by game 5 going she's gonna light it up. When Sabrina at home, she's done a good job of showing up in the big moments for them when they need it. And so I don't think
Ugh.
it's gonna be a terrible call, but it has been fun watching two teams that I think somebody tweeted this. I can't remember who tweeted it, but I retweeted it. So I hope this isn't
The
plagiarism.
tweet about when you're not
But
invested in either.
no, it was just like it's funny watching two teams that get that has the nicest whistle in the league being pissed because no calls are being called at all for either of them.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Totally. Totally. I'm going to. I have also said that this was probably against my gut. New York's year, but I want the Lynx. I don't know. Maybe Cheryl can squiggle up something on that board real quick. Show them why you already got four of them, and go
Oh,
and
no
get you a
doubt.
fifth. And
She the better
I would
coach
love
for
to.
sure.
Oh yeah, for sure, for
Hmm.
sure.
Yeah, by
I would
mile. That
love for
that
Courtney
battle is
Williams to get
won.
one.
That ain't nothing to chat about.
Yeah,
That's
that
for
battle been
sure.
over.
Yeah.
Like I would enjoy that for Courtney Williams. So go ahead and get it. And so
I want
like,
all of the legends, like Maya, put your husband down for a little bit and come outside to
mm,
the game. Like I want all of them to come through.
yeah, because they're so often they're so quick to show who's at a New York game. And we know obviously New York is what we call a sexier city than Minneapolis, but they already got Brunson on the bench. Maya, Simone, Lindsay, all of them pull up deep. They can leave Candace Wiggins, leave her at home. But everybody
Big
else pull
Seal.
up to the game. Who?
Big Seal.
Yeah, oh yeah, Big Seal, Devereaux, Taj, like all of them pull up and cheer for your babies, like root them on. So
Do you think Renee will pull up?
yeah, go
She
ahead.
gave them some good years, bruh.
She did. If that's the case, go and get Jaya Perkins, go and get Planette too. Like they deep. The Liberty don't got much to pull from. So the Lynx, they can go deep
Rebecca.
into
They
They just
got
gonna show
Rebecca.
you Jason Sudeikis anyway. It don't matter who in the crowd.
they don't have no championship pedigree. So like the Lynx can go deep. Devereaux Peters, go and get everything. Pull up there and cheer for them. So it's going to be some great games. I'm excited to see, if this goes to 5 or if the Lynx get it done in 4 or New York gets it done in 4. Either way, it's going to be exciting.
I
So
will say, though, if Minnesota pulled it out, it wouldn't surprise me.
oh yeah, for sure,
Same. Yeah.
for sure. And I don't know if they're gonna be on the road for an exhibition or something, but all of them pull up too. So yeah. So we're gonna move on from the finals. As I was mentioning earlier, before game 2, there was an announcement made that the playoff structure will be changing for 2025 and beyond. And so with that announcement, it was reported that the finals will now become a best of 7 series, and games 1, the structure will remain it will remain 3 games, but it will be now a 1-1-1. And so there was a lot of discussion around
One,
if
one,
that,
one.
yeah, it's going to basically
Hmm.
be home, road, home. And so each team is guaranteed to have a home game. And I thought that should wait until we got back to what, at least 16 teams, and we switched to the conference format in playoffs to alleviate the I guess the excessive cost. Yes, they do have charters, but the time, what if there is a series that ends up being the Sparks versus Connecticut or Seattle versus Connecticut? So they literally have to fly back and forth with a day sometimes between games. I think that'll be a little bit excessive. But we heard the outcry from a certain GM and players and fans and this season. And so what are your thoughts on going to 7 games for the finals and then the 1-1-1 for the first round?
I agree with you in that the 1-1-1 is very premature. I think, once we go back to the Eastern Western Conference series in the first, leading up to the championship, then I think that could work. But right now, like you said, especially knowing how this league goes and how much time or how little time they give teams in between games, I don't think it's fair to the players or their bodies, especially because we're not, like, their season's going to be longer too. They're adding 4 more
4 more
games. So
games for
now
now,
they're about to
which
have a 44 game season
mhm,
and then head straight into the playoffs. And then on top of that, now you're saying you're going to have to travel whatever distance to go from game 1 to game 2. I'm not a fan of it. I don't like it. Um, I think if you want to host the first 2 rounds, earn it. Like it is what it is. Just earn it. And you could easily be playing because it doesn't really benefit the home team either if you win a game, right? Because the deciding game's on the road and you get the deciding game. So as much as, people are like, it's not fair to the underseeded team, it low key ain't fair to the top seeded team either too, because they gotta win the 2 games or they're headed on the road for a deciding game, right? So it I'm not the biggest fan of that. I don't like the move. I think it's very premature. We know why it was made, but I'm not a fan of it. The 7 games, I would have been cool. I've said before that I was okay with 7 games, but I'm not okay with 7 games if they're increasing the season to 44 games in the regular season, because I think by doing that and still not expanding rosters, it's putting too much on their bodies. Like, there's not a lot of breaks in between during the season. A lot of the star players are probably going to have to be at All-Star, and they're going to already like have to do so much at All-Star, so they don't really get a break. Yeah, I don't really like any of the changes, if I'm being honest. I don't like any of them.
and especially when you think about Olympic years as well as World Cup years, those years are typically more condensed. And so they're playing, obviously this year there was a little bit more time between games because, there was, no, it was Olympics this year too. So in a non-Olympic year, maybe they will have like 2 or 3 days between games. But in World Cup and Olympic years, it's like every other day. And so now you're adding more games. Eventually, once those other two teams come, well, other three teams come, like, are we going to get to a 50 game season or 52 game season? So they're going to be even more games, longer seasons on top of the playoffs. So yes, I understand that they're wanting the money, or the money is coming, and then with the new teams, they're going to be expansion. I mean, excuse me, there's going to be a need for more teams. But as Yana mentioned, there also needs to be longer games with more bodies, I feel. So
I
I know
don't
we're
even
talking
know
about
if I
maybe
want a
before
50
50.
game season. Like, I'm okay. Just spread the games out. Instead of us having 5 games on at 3 p.m. on Sunday, just spread the games out. Like, I don't think we really need that many games, especially with 12-man rosters and still 16 teams still isn't a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, the NBA, they have what, 80 game seasons, but they got like 30 teams. Like, we're gonna be like going to 50. You damn near close to their 80, and you don't even have half of the teams that they got. I don't even want 50. I think 40 is a decent number. I just want it to be spread out more. Like, I want the girls to be well rested, and I also want my eyes to be well rested instead of trying to watch 4 games at the same time.
Okay, so
They gonna
with
have them
44.
girls playing the finals like it's AAU. Yeah, y'all gonna play at 11 a.m. Game one at 11 a.m. Game two gonna be at 8 o'clock p.m.
So with 44 games, 16 teams, that's about two. That's 2.75 games. So basically, you're saying maybe the conference, maybe within your conference, those are the teams you probably played 3 or 4 times. Like you have one, kind of like how conference schedules are in college. You have one which is a permanent home and away, and you flip flop some seasons, excuse me, between college teams. So maybe in the conference for the W, you'll play, like the Aces will play the Sparks maybe 3 times, and then the Storm 3 times. But then their Eastern Conference opponents, they'll probably just play them 2 times. Is that what you're suggesting, to instead of going to 50?
Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with that, especially because we're going to go into series where a lot of them end up playing each other 4 or 5 times. Like, to be honest, last year, it didn't happen this year, but last year, when we watched New York and Vegas play, it was overload. Like, it was just
Mm-hmm.
too many times. I felt like I was drained from that matchup. And every year, I feel like it happened. Like, I think we saw Minnesota and Seattle play like 4 times in 1 month. And
Mm-hmm.
then Vegas and LA played like 4 times in a 1 month span. It just like the scheduling in itself is bad. I hate the scheduling.
Oh yeah,
So they
because
can
last
start
year with
there.
the Aces and Liberty, it was like right before All Star, and then the Commissioner's Cup, and then right after the Commissioner's Cup, they played them again in regular season.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. All right. In addition to the playoff format changing and adding 4 extra games to the season, it was also announced that the Valkyries will select, as of now, at number 5 in the 2025 WNBA draft. So the 4 teams that missed the playoffs this year will get spots 1 through 4, and then the Valkyries will choose fifth in every round of the WNBA draft. That is, of course, unless they make trades. And the Valkyries made their own announcement in this week that Natalie Nakase, who has been an assistant coach for the Las Vegas Aces for the past 3 seasons, has been announced officially as their inaugural head coach of their franchise. And so, congratulations to Natalie with that. And now we know exactly, well, not exactly, because once again, they still could make some changes. But with the 5th pick in the draft, who they could very well possibly be targeting. I think it is safe to say they can kiss that sorry, Kaylani. I know what you said on stage and all that good stuff, and drafting Paige, but I think you can probably kiss that goodbye because Paige will be long gone before the 5th pick. So, who do you think that's a good target for the Valkyries if they were indeed to keep the 5th pick?
Ooh. COVID year's over. So people will be coming out. I just have to remember who's coming out now. I think it depends, right, on who they get this off season. Like they're gonna have to go based on the pieces that they have. Um,
Okay.
I don't see Kiki Arioffen dropping to 5, but if she's available, you go after her. Um, a
Because
shooter,
2025
like,
will be a lot different than 2024. Because I feel like although the order may have changed, you knew who were kind of like the lottery picks in 2024.
yeah. Um, I mean, a sharpshooter in like a AZ Fudd. Granted, you still want to see her make it through a season fully healthy, but when healthy, AZ's a bucket. She's a shooter, and you can't go wrong with that. And if Natalie is anything, if she's taking anything from Becky, she's gonna make sure she get a shooter on her roster.
Mm-hmm.
So AZ could be somebody they target. Who else? Maybe a point guard if they can't get a point guard in the off season. Maybe a Rory.
Are you ignoring the elephant in the room, Yana? I know you don't want to utter those words. I think she
I
already
said a
has her.
point guard. I said a point guard.
She is going to be their point guard.
Well, they gonna lose a bunch of games if she ain't point guard.
Okay, so
Yes,
you
I
said
am going to ignore. I'm ignoring it until it happens. I will ignore it until it happens. But Aurori Harmon could be a solid pickup. I liked her last year. Well, not, before the injury. I thought she started playing well for them. Um,
I can't wait to see them hopping, skips, and backflips down the lane in that lavender.
well, you're going to have to wait an extra year or two because it's not happening. So let it go.
Okay,
So let it go.
and so
Or
now,
Loki and Ioka Lee. If healthy, you can't coach height. We've said that before. We said it with Camilla, and I think Ioka, obviously she can, like running up and down the court hasn't been like her strongest suit. You do have to play a slower paced game, but I do think that if you can maximize her minutes, you can't coach height. You really can't. Like when you play through players like McCowan, we've seen it. You play through a McCowan, you play through a BG, you play through, you utilize Camilla's height. It it's good to have because everybody don't have it.
yeah, and so Shay, the quest for Paige in DC and Chocolate City is still alive and well. How do you feel about that?
I'm glad. I'm just glad because I was worried they was gonna rig this whole and give the Valkyries the first pick, so they ain't do that. But um, I don't. We got our pick. We got Atlanta pick. We gonna see what happens. Y'all, if we do get lucky and get a number one pick, please don't tweet me and ask me if we gonna trade it. I will crash out on you. I can't take another year of us trading the
Uh,
number one pick.
Deletes drafts.
You know who didn't Janaya tell us she was only doing 3 years?
She
She
did.
did.
That is correct.
Cause at 5, that would be who I would be looking at, depending on the season she has this year.
Heavy on depending on the season she has this
Yes,
year.
that's the big caveat. But if she do what potential wise we thought she was gonna do, like that's who I would be looking at.
Okay, so I got a question that do we think that Olivia Miles would be available at 5, and would she be a good choice there? What are your thoughts on Olivia Miles as your
Um,
franchise point guard?
I like Miles too. I think point guard wise, they will probably need one. I don't know who they'll be able to pick up in the off season. So if they're, new and trying to go for the future, this is a good draft to get a solid point guard. I think Olivia Miles would be a great player.
Yeah, I think that's a great pick. I just didn't know if she was gonna be coming out this year because she missed last year. So part of me thinks she might want to you know,
Yeah.
try to take advantage of all her college time.
I do have a question since we are talking about draft picks. Who do you feel in this draft is we saw some come in this season that were pro ready right away, right? Or provided immediate impact for their teams in the form of whether it's heavy usage or just the amount of minutes that they were playing, etc. Who do we see possibly being able to do that? We know Paige, wherever she goes, she is going to probably be right away the starting point guard. Do you see that being the same with any other players?
Depending on where she goes, I think Kiki Ariafen for certain will be starting. Depending on where she goes.
Is what is Anissa is Morrow gonna play the 3?
This year, I don't think so. I
Mm.
think I think they'll play her at the 4 a little bit. I know that ADR, they said like ADR had like a little procedure done in the off season, so she's getting back in shape and stuff like that. And so if that's the case, then I think they're gonna have to play a little small ball to start the season. So Samaya Smith will be down there, but I think Anissa will probably be in the paint for a good bit of the season. But I hope she moves to the 3. That, like, I really think she could be a great wing player. Her defense on the wing is already good. And I think her handles on the perimeter, like her dribble pull-ups and the way she breaks defenders down, it's nice. It's not consistent, but I think that's just because she hasn't been playing the 3. So why would it be consistent?
Yeah, that's where cause like Paige would be fine, assuming she's healthy wise. Kiki would be straight. Amoro is like, it's hard for me to put her with them two just because I don't know what position she's going to be trying to play. Because at the 4, no. Not as a pro.
Do you feel like, because Fee is a little undersized when they take her into consideration amongst the other fours, do you feel like a coach will probably try to uh, do that same thing with Anissa in the pros? Maybe say, oh, well, Fee's only 6'2". Anissa, we can do the same thing with you like her, or
I mean,
no?
it took time with Fido. I mean, if it's something they want to try, sure, why not? It took a little bit of time with Fee.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, if that's the goal for her professionally, then I would hope that Kim can get her on the perimeter so that she can develop those reps. And her showing up to W camp isn't the first time somebody is like really putting her on the wing. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, makes sense, makes sense. And so speaking of WCAM, and I know we've talked about this a little bit previously, but do you see with the expansion of the league and do you see eventually there being some sort of combine for the W?
For the dub, they don't have enough time. With the quick turnaround from the Final Four to the draft, they don't really have time to do that.
So ideally, what would be your setup? Boom. The first weekend of April is always the Final Four. So you would say that combine needs to be win and then the draft win.
Ideally, if I'm being honest, and I think I tweeted this like last year, I wouldn't mind if the draft happened in after the W season. Like, I would not mind if, like, yes, we have March Madness, but let those players miss out on this season and then draft them for the next season. Like, give them time to go from camp to camp, work out with coaches, work out with teams, do what they need to do, relax their body, and then have a draft and let them get ready for the next season.
Hmm.
Like,
But that
I
probably
don't,
wouldn't
that
happen. So, if what would be option two when it comes to maybe pushing back? 'Cause I think Shay has
none.
mentioned
They all suck.
Shay has
Because, like,
mentioned
when you
putting
think
a
about it
stamp on a
though,
holiday.
when you think about NBA season, right? Like, March Madness happens, NBA season's still going on, and then they get drafted for the next year. And so why not just maybe, I don't know, start W season earlier so that you can have time, because that is something that Kathy, like, someone asked her about starting the W season earlier, and she said, because of March Madness, the quick turnaround, blah, 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 we can't do that. But why not start the season earlier so that you have time to space out the games instead of crunching them all into this time. Let those girls go through March Madness. Let them go to camps and meet coaches and work out with coaches, do their individual workouts, and then have a draft in November. Like, and let them, prepare to go. And then they got from November to the next season to get ready for camp with their coaching staff and get prepared so that it's not some quick turnaround and their body's fatigued and they're getting injured because they've been playing nonstop since November of the prior year.
Okay. Okay, so moving up this season and then making the draft later. Okay, gotcha. So I'm trying to think now, who was the latest, based off of the last two teams that are currently playing, which rookie played the longest?
None, because they don't use their rookies. But it would have been Peely or like maybe Peely, Jalen Sherrod, I guess maybe she's a rookie,
Marquise?
but Liani, right? She was playing overseas and then
Oh,
she
yeah.
came to New York and she played for the Olympics and still playing, so maybe her, but
But it'd be a lot different if it was a Camilla, a Caitlin, or even Joe.
oops, we got a
Sorry,
phone call.
I went out. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so the rookies that are still playing, they haven't played the longest. So gotcha. All right. Uh, so Shay, if you miss out on Paige, who would you take?
I'm going to take myself to the wharf to get me some shrimp and some crabs and a drink, and then I'm going to jump off into the ocean. I think that I would take Olivia Miles.
Mm.
I think so, right? Yeah.
Okay, I can see
Why
that.
not? Because we got Kira, we got and I'm assuming because Kira is playing in undecided that she'll be healthy. You know what I'm saying? She feels like she'll be healthy. So Kira, Aaliyah Edwards, Sykes, Atkins. Like I think there's room for a point guard to grow there, especially since
Mm.
we let Cloud walk.
Yeah.
Okay, and what's the deal with Washington again? They have both picks, or they just swap picks?
They have both
We
Atlanta
got both.
and they got their pick and Atlanta pick.
Oh, so they could take Miles and Fudd.
We could. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of AZ draft stock depends on her health this year. Unfortunately,
I like that because you got your bigs, you got your wing players. You need another shooter to go because I mean, if you got Olivia running it, you got Carly. Hold on now, wait a minute. You got Olivia, and then you got your shooters in Carly and Az with Aaliyah Edwards and
Yeah.
Kira
And Washington, and they gonna have Steph Dolson too, who I believe
Dolphin,
shot
and you still
the
got
three better
Sykes.
than most people. Washington, like as much as we rag on Washington to get on Shay's nerve, Washington was being healthy away from being in the playoffs and being competitive this year. Like if they're healthy, they make the playoffs. They just had injuries to like the best players on the team.
Yeah.
this could be
So
a transformational draft. The
I
same
was about
thing
to
we
say,
said when we had the opportunity to draft Ryan, and what did we do? So I'm
Well,
hoping that we get it
according
right.
to Cloud, your people knew what they was doing.
And where is she?
Gone.
don't.
So hopefully we get it right this time. And I'm interested because I wonder, like, if we draft pieces that are quality, like, does Deladon be like, oh, all right, I could maybe run with these kids?
Or do they be like, we'll let you go?
Cause they're like, we believe in what we
Because
got
we
now. We
got
don't need you.
pieces now, exactly, and we ready to move, forward, future.
That would be so grimy, though. Like, that's just terrible team PR. The best player in your franchise history, you kept locked in the basement, and then the next season you got somebody in the drafts. You was like, all right, you can bounce. See you, shorty. Kick rocks.
Thought we need you, but we don't. Bye.
Let me grab my bag. Let me get the key out the back to unlock the shackle. Hold on. Stay right there.
Speaking of keys and unlocking the shackle, never mind. I'm gonna wait till I finish all the episodes. This show, not falling. What that thing called? Found is
Found.
found is it's whooping my ass because they got Screech locked up in there.
Not Screech, it's Zach.
Zach, sorry, yes, Zach, not Screech, my bad. But yeah, that's a good show. So when you look at now I'm going back to this roster, looking at the Mystics, they could be very well, and they still got Shatori. Obviously, we know a lot of these players will be on the move, or could be on the move because of the expansion draft, which we announced last week, or not announced, but we mentioned last week will be held December 6th, and so that's going to be an exciting time. I want to say in a recent interview during a preseason game, I think Natalie mentioned that they're hitting the ground running. First, they'll be looking at potential options for their staff. So, of course, she has in mind who some coaches, that she'd like to reach out to. I'm not sure if they'll be W coaches or college coaches, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is a mixture of the two. And then, of course, building the identity of their team. And so I did think she said the most important thing was defense. And so we do know, or I guess we can expect for this team, no matter if they are young, experienced, or a mixture of veterans already, to be at least a defensive menace, hopefully. But
You
everyone
know,
says that.
I'm looking at Washington's roster right now, and you know who somebody I would steal from their roster if Washington didn't protect them? Emily Inksley.
No,
Mm.
no, no. I talked to Emily yesterday. She signed the contract. She coming back.
Nah, I'm just saying y'all got to protect 6 people, right? They said 6 max. You got Atkins, Sykes, Dolson, or maybe they don't protect Dolson. I don't know. Carly Samuelson already on protected contracts. You got Shakira Austin, that's 5. Aaliyah Edwards, and you ain't even touched Shatori or Emily Inkster yet. Like, if she's available, I would go after Emily Inkster. She a little workhorse. Can't,
Hmm.
like, nothing, you can never go wrong with a little workhorse like that.
She is a mystic. Thank you.
So where all has Inksler played? Did she ever spend any time with the Liberty? No, she didn't. Because I was going to say that
Mm-mm.
that the GM came from the Liberty. So I'm about to say if she did spend time there, she's very familiar potentially, but she didn't. So you don't got to worry about that.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Let's back up. The Mystics have not given me the joy that I have desired since 2019. We have been through hell. Y'all have put me through hell. And yet, y'all are looking at this roster and you were trying to pick and choose who the hell you going to take off of it for a team that's not even real yet. Can we have nice things? Can we keep our players that we like? Honestly, I don't understand what this is
The
about.
rules of the expansion draft have come out. Golden State is a real team,
Okay, and it's
and your
11
team
other
has to keep
teams.
6.
It's
I
11
can
other
go through
teams.
each
Go see what
team.
they got going on.
Let's see. Atlanta. If I have to
Ellie.
pick one person from Atlanta, I take LA or Maya Caldwell.
Snapping my fingers. Go ahead.
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know, maybe, I mean, Natalie's worked with Ileana Rupert before with Vegas, so I don't know if that's somebody she would look at too. Cause Rupert, she gave some decent minutes for Vegas. So, let's see, who's the next team? Chicago? Who? Baby, I
Jesus.
might bypass Chicago. I might be like, oh, okay. But if she's
I'll take
available,
Michaela.
I'll take Izzy. I'll take Izzy Harrison. If that's somebody they don't re-sign or protect, it don't seem like Izzy had a good time in Chicago. So if she's available to grab, I take her.
Connecticut.
Connecticut. Ooh.
Child.
If I could, they're probably gonna protect her. But if I could,
Olivia.
I'd take Ty, to be honest. I'd take
Yeah.
Ty or Ono, to be honest.
Wait,
Yeah.
separate question. Y'all remember a few months ago we said if Connecticut can't do it, they need to blow it up. Do we
Hmm.
still agree?
Yes.
Okay.
Especially with
Blow
that
it
report. Oh,
up.
yeah, because we're going to get there. Especially with the report that Stephanie White is not likely, or is not likely to return. That's going to be interesting.
I
I
didn't
think
read.
they
Is
got
it
some
her
solid
choice or is
pieces.
Connecticut choice or her choice or it was mutual?
Hers. I think it's hers. It sounded like, at least from Annie's article, it really just gave money. Like, she was just like, whoever, gets Stephanie White is gonna have to drop a bag. So it sounds more like Connecticut might not be willing to drop a bag, and so she might be out the door.
And that's interesting because a lot of those, I think I remember telling you all, even while I was in the Boston game or at the Boston game, they all mentioned, just for them temporarily using the Celtics facilities, how it just felt more comfortable, like the resources that were there. And then we know Alyssa went on record and talking about how it was just unfortunate that them being a consistent contender had to share a rec center, what, for with a birthday party.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like these are players who are at the prime or nearing the end of their careers, and they want nice things. And so for Dewana per se to have left Phoenix where they had these things and to come to Connecticut for these years, it's like, man, I gave up a lot to come here, and we don't really have our own. So, and
But
then it's
she
nothing.
found love in a hopeless place. That's
That
what
is true.
matters.
She did find love again. So
Sometimes that's a word, y'all. Sometimes you got to leave the comfort of your home to go and find happiness.
you
Sometimes
got to
you gotta
lose to win
move.
again.
Yes. Sometimes you gotta lose. Have you ever?
Did you kick your shoes off?
I hit that note and my bonnet just slid right on back.
With your white toes. I feel it. I love it. But I won't be surprised if a lot of those players there are just wanting to be elsewhere. Because it's like, one, they probably want they also, especially with that other report came out, that said because I think territorial wise, the franchise that's in that area has a say on whether they'd allow another franchise in the area, and he voted basically no to a Boston team, and so it's like
I
they're not
mean, she should be the Boston team. Move the team to Boston.
exactly like
Like,
either move the
you
team
ain't gotta
or
bring the team to Boston. Move that team to Boston, or just
exactly move it
somewhere.
or sell it.
Yeah, just give them better amenities too. Like, just do right by them.
There's nothing there. Nothing there. So it's going to be interesting if those players decide to say they could very well force themselves out because the majority of that team are all either restricted or unrestricted free agents.
Nah,
So
the majority of that team unrestricted. The only person who's restricted is Dejanay,
it's Dejanay.
and I think they'll keep her. But I think it might be time to just go youth movement. If Stephanie White's out, if she's in fact leaving, depending on the coach that you get, you may or may not be able to even get some of those big names to stick around.
Mm-hmm.
Cause they're towards the end of their career now. So I don't know if they want to, be trying to figure out how to drag another team, to finish line. So they might dip. Uh, I think you keep Ty, you keep Mabry, you keep Dejanay. That's a nice young guard core.
Mm-hmm.
Veronica Burton, I thought she was really good for them. And then you kind of figure out what you're going to do in the post. I
Oh no.
think, yeah, Ono. You keep Ono. Like, she's been growing. She's been playing well. If Bree Jones wants to stay, I think you keep her around. But to be honest, and I'm moving away from the Alyssa Thomas experiment. This is me. I think AT is a great player. Obviously, AT was in the running for MVP. She is not no scrub. But I think AT inability to be effective on offense consistently is an
Mm-hmm.
issue, especially at the 4 spot. Because when you're a 4, we've already, like, when you're looking at the teams that are winning right now, their 4s they gonna get you buckets. Like, they
Mm-hmm.
gonna do what they need to do to get you buckets. You got Asia, you got Stewie, you got Fee. Those are the teams that are winning, right? Like, those are the teams at NECA for Seattle. Like, you need a scorer at that 4 position. And I know AT does a great job of facilitating, but I think sometimes when she has to be the facilitator, it takes the ball out of your point guard hand, and your point guard can't be a point guard because your point forward's being the point guard. So now your point guard's playing out of position because the best thing your point forward can do is run the point. But if you watch that Connecticut game, they've been treating AT like she was Kia Stokes. Dead ass. Like, they weren't even defending her. Like, they literally had 2 people sitting on Brianna Jones' lap and was like, if you gonna do your little
Shot put.
shot, then go for it. We'll take that. And I think it's hard to win when your 4 player ain't looking to the basket to score.
Yeah.
I think AT and Bree Jones would be very good with other bigs paired with them. Like,
Yeah.
not them together, but like, imagine AT with Natasha Howard.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, somebody like that type of mix for them, I think would work better than what them 2 together at this point.
Like, a stretch post player would probably be best with AT because that person doesn't need to
Right.
sit in the paint and go to work. Like, they don't have to make a post move in the paint to make shit shake. Whereas Bree Jones, she do need that. And when she
Right.
don't have any space, then she can't make shit shake.
Mm. Okay. Well, like you said, it's going to be an interesting expansion draft. We're all really excited. We are hoping that the list of protected players be available, but I think it's been reported by Alexa maybe that she said that the list of players that the teams decide to protect won't be available. We'll just know who the teams choose from. So, Messi.
I need somebody to leak it.
Yeah. Maybe there'll be some leakage somewhere. We'll see. Well, we'll see. Um, and,
All the girls got to do is we just got to agree on an emoji, and then they just got to post it.
mm,
So I wonder if the expansion draft is going to be like here's everybody we chose, or if it's going to go from each team, from team to
right.
team.
Is
Be
it going to
like
be an actual
from,
event, or is it going to be just like
yeah,
okay, like a news flash? All right, these are the players we took. See you all
let's talk
later.
about it, right? Or is
Yeah,
it going to be like one of those, first up, Atlanta Dream, you're on the clock, who you taking, or like, like some shit like that.
because I want to see. Was it because it's doing halftime, right? Or is it a
Oh, is it
pregame
during
game?
It's during a
It,
halftime? Oh, they just finna drop the list if it's during the halftime.
yeah, let's see. Hold on. It says expansion draft held on December 6th and air on ESPN. Let's see. I don't know for sure if it's like during the halftime. I saw something recently. I thought it was during halftime of a game. So if it is during halftime, then it's probably going to be like a really quick process.
Oh yeah, they're just finna drop the list and go about their day.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not going to give us much to I guess to desire from that. So, all right, we're going to
Y'all know what's gonna happen?
go ahead.
Shams gonna leak that jump.
Good.
That would actually be
Perfect.
kind of fun if he were to leak it. Like, give us something to really talk about. Hold on, let me see.
Kathy would be pissed.
Let's see. Expansion draft. I know there was a release that came out.
So
Let's,
we won't know. So will the players not know either? Like, do you think they'll be able to keep it from the players as well? Like, if you get picked, you get picked. But if you don't, we always wanted you around and
Okay.
you were never up for
ESPN will.
grabs.
Here it is. So it'll be 30 minutes. ESPN will air the 30-minute WNBA Draft Lottery presented by State Farm special at 5 p.m. Eastern, following its presentation of the TCU versus North Carolina State women's game. So Bethany will reveal the results of Bethany Donovan, who's the head of league operations. She'll reveal the results during the coverage. And so I guess. Oh wait, that's the draft lottery. My bad. I read all of that.
I ain't want to stop you. I was like, damn, maybe I read the wrong shit. I don't know.
My bad. That's definitely the draft lottery. That's not the expansion draft. So my fault, Shawty. Yeah, go ahead and disregard all that. We don't know. So all we just know that they'll begin assembling on December 6th. The draft lottery will be November 17th. So at least we know the draft lottery will be before the expansion draft. But yeah, my bad. So yeah, disregard all that. So we're gonna see.
Yana said, do they tell them that they wanted you always around? That's some Love is Blind ass shit. You sit in
I'm
the
just
room
saying,
and
like, we won't know, but, you know, if we won't know, maybe they won't know. Maybe they'll get to, you know, release,
Somebody's
like,
gonna
you
get the
know,
tweeting.
keep it
Somebody is
private.
gonna tweet it.
that is so messy. You know what, girl? You was my first choice, my first
It's
love. Like,
like,
I never
she
was
didn't
trying to
pick you
get picked.
because you weren't up for grabs. Everybody come to the locker room, like, one by one, and they're telling everybody the same thing. Like, obviously we didn't put you up for grabs. Like, why would we?
I love
We
you,
need
girl.
you.
We
Now
in
there's
this
11
shit
of us here.
forever.
You had to protect six. So what's up? You lying to one of us or
Everybody
five
get
of
in the
us.
locker room and they told me they wanted me here. Like, well, shit, they told me the same thing.
To say, wait, so who was number 6? Because if I was 5, wait, they gonna be in that bitch doing the Spider-Man meme.
Meanwhile, you gonna have the stars be like, shit, I know it wasn't me, bitch. Like, they need me, shit.
Aisha, Chelsea, and Jackie ain't even gonna show up because they know they good.
That's so messy. Because imagine somebody who ain't get picked, you don't like on your team. You're only here because Tanya Randall.
They just decided not to show up. Coach was done recruiting.
You only here because we couldn't get Kelsey Plum to come to the fucking team.
That's funny. Okay, so everybody stay tuned. Real little bit. We're over about a month and a half away from all of this going down. We are just a month from at least the draft lottery where Shay figures out if she's going to be twerking or if she's going to be sobbing. So good luck to her. She got two chances to get this right, I think. So yeah. With that being said, as we move and prepare, we are officially 3 weeks away from the college season. Um, we're Some of the awards are starting to trickle out very over this week. You know, as all the conferences are having either media days or they're releasing their polls. We have some scrimmages coming up this week, so they're moving full steam ahead with this season, and we're all excited. Let the repeat tour commence. Shay, good luck to your girls. Hopefully they stop ducking smoke. Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Let's get this out the way early since y'all want to. It's a whole bunch of shots being thrown to LA. And let me say this. When you move and you get there and you only got enough to get an air mattress, you be eating ramen because you don't have the money to go out and hang out. So that's our schedule. It's a spaghetti in there as schedule right now.
SpaghettiOs.
Look, we got to travel all the way to Maryland and Penn State, so we not, we chilling in our conference.
They playing Baptist Hill and
Look, we playing the
There's some
community
good games in
college
there though,
elite
cause
level
y'all,
too,
we get to see UConn. We get to see UConn and Southern Cal. I think that's gonna be a good
and
one.
we playing Notre Dame. There y'all go.
Yeah.
And we
Ain't
start the
that
season
all
off
that's in the same
playing.
weekend or something? Yeah, it's gonna be
We
a good
start the
little.
season off playing Ole Miss.
in Paris.
See,
I mean, y'all got a few good games. I give y'all that. Y'all got a few good games. So shout
we
out to y'all.
everybody can't beat South Carolina. That's okay. We
Shit,
can
South Carolina
do.
been struggling to get their roster together, they schedule together too.
But we saw the SEC today. There was a three-way tie for Player of the Year. So coaches
Ooh,
are sorry.
B,
Am I back?
yes.
They keep blowing me up. Damn. The coaches are undecided on who's going to be the SEC Player of the Year. So with those names that were mentioned, do you think that either of them will be? And if not, who is their biggest threat to
Wait, who was the
dethrone them?
names, B?
So it was
Um,
Flau'jae, Anissa, and Booker.
Ooh. I do think it's wide open. I do think, in previous years, it's literally been like, this is this person's to lose. Whether it was Asia, Ryan, Aaliyah, Angel, like, it's always been kind of like, oh yeah, it's gonna be this person this year. This year it's a little bit more wide open. Um, I think that it will probably end up being, I don't know. It could be Anissa because she'll probably, but then it could be Flage too, or it could be somebody from South Carolina, like a
Mm-hmm.
Malaysia. And then I do like the Madison Booker choice. I think that could be, or it could be Reagan Bears, just simply because I do think Oklahoma is going to play through her a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
so you might see her getting a lot of double doubles and scoring, rebounding, and stuff like that. So it could be her. It, yeah, it's
I was
wide open to me.
My bread on Madison, if I had to pick.
I was also shocked at Rory was only second team because we saw, and I get it, the conferences are a lot different, SEC versus Big 12, but we often saw Rory dominate a lot of the awards, defensive and player of the year awards over there in the Big 12. And so for her to come here, I was wondering if it was because they felt like she would take it a little bit slower coming off of injury, if that's maybe why she got second team instead of first team, or even some sort of recognition for player of the year for preseason. What do you think about her in Texas?
I think it just has to do with her injury. Um, I think a lot of people are probably wondering what she looks like coming back from injury. And then also, I think honestly and truly with Layla Felia there now,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she really has to do like, too much on offense as much as she did in the previous year. Because you got Madison Booker who's hooping, and then you got Layla Felia right there who can hoop. Uh, whew, she might not even have to do too much. Just run the ship.
And while we're on the SEC awards, a couple hours ago, I did break some news that Aaliyah Matharu is expected to enter the transfer portal out of Florida. Aaliyah is a former Texas Longhorn and Mississippi State Bulldog, and now Florida Gator. And so she is a graduate transfer. I'm not sure what those rules are in regards to if she'd be available immediately or if she could play at the semester break. We have seen in the past where Mir McLean played a few games for UConn and then suited up for Virginia. So she played for two teams in the same season. So I'm not sure if that's going to be a similar thing since, the season hasn't officially started in regards to games, but they are within the official practice window. So I won't be surprised if we see her suit up somewhere at like after the winter break. So what are your thoughts on that, and who could benefit from a player like Aaliyah Matharu?
I mean, a lot of schools would benefit. I just like that's a crib kid, so I'm a root for her. But it's like I guess I wonder what she's looking for. Like I think
Yeah,
that's the bigger question: is what is she trying to get out of her new school?
Mm,
because it'll be her final year, right? So,
mm-hmm.
like, what is she looking for? So, I mean, valid question. She's a great point guard, scores well, great scorer, defends well. I thought she was really good for Florida. So whoever gets her is gonna get a really good player.
Okay. And if I let's see, so we do have a few preseason awards for the Big Ten. I will let you all guess who the players, the preseason player of the year is for the Big Ten. Shay, would you like to guess?
Juju, bitch. It gotta be. The Big Ten runs through LA now. We not hearing all of
It
that
do.
other. We not
Yeah,
hearing nothing else.
It
yeah.
do. But
So
I
preseason.
will say, I don't sleep on Ohio State only because for some odd reason they can't figure that shit out in March Madness, but for some reason they always show up in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ohio
So,
State gonna be good. It's just I think it was a few weeks ago they posted the thing and they were like, oh well, the Big Ten runs to LA, and people was like, well, wait a minute, and I'm like, it's not no different than when Maryland joined the Big Ten and
Yeah.
they won the first 4 Big Ten championships. They went to the Final Four that first year, and they elevated that whole conference to where it is now. So now I think like you got USC and UCLA join, it's gonna be something similar. And
Yeah, it
then the
definitely
other
runs
teams
through
around them will
LA.
get better. The other teams around them will be like, oh shit, we need somebody who gonna bang with Juju and with Lauren Betts. I need to get on the recruiting trail. You know what I'm saying?
And hopefully they play a little bit more defense now, you know?
yeah.
Well,
I mean, UCLA and Southern Cal, they play defense. So, you know, maybe it'll rub off on the other teams to be like, you know what? Maybe we want to defend every once in a while. Maybe it's in our best interest to learn how to move our feet.
Because
I don't
looking at
know.
the preseason list, it's Juju and Kiki, and then Hannah Stokey and Lucy Olson of Iowa, Cheyenne from Maryland, Alexis Markowski from Nebraska, Cody from Ohio State, Lauren and Kiki from UCLA, and Sarah Williams from Wisconsin. So those are the all Big Ten teams. So, and then obviously the preseason favorite is the other USC. So, maybe this could be a year for some defensive additions there. Don't see any additions from Oregon or Washington there. Do we think that those are some programs that can make their presence felt in the Big Ten?
I mean, I would expect Deja Kelly to make an impression.
Hmm. Okay.
I feel like I'm interested, especially after the comments she made about carrying Carolina, which I didn't necessarily disagree with, just
I didn't
because
either.
like when you think about Carolina prior to Deja Kelly, the last like household Tar Heels were who? Diamond and Leash, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they weren't even making the tournament for a stretch. So I didn't disagree with her, but I'm interested to see how that translates for Oregon. Cause I'm interested to see.
Okay. So we're going to be on the lookout for some of the other awards that are expected to be released over the next coming days. We have our Big East. We have a lot of the mid-major conferences, along with the ACC awards. I haven't seen anything just yet in regards to those. So we'll, of course, by next week we should probably have some of those. It's going to be an exciting season, I think, no matter what happens. So we're looking forward to it.
Can I go on the record about something real quick?
Go ahead.
I think the MEAC released theirs.
Oh,
Um,
yes, yes. And Diamond was Player of the Year.
Diamond was Player of the Year, which I don't disagree with. However, I think that, and I'm gonna put on for the home team, Howard, the real HU, they coming. Destiny Howard won Player of the Year before she tore her ACL, and she's back healthy this year. So I think it's gonna be a dogfight for that Player of the Year.
Mm.
I'm interested to see. I think Howard gonna surprise some people because Howard to me is like she's a sleeper draft pick. Like she a big guard from New York, so you know how they give it up. Like I think the MEAC Player of the Year race is gonna be fun.
Yeah, and in those two programs, I really feel like over the past, especially since North Carolina A&T left and Hampton, Howard and Norfolk State have really waved the banners or carried the torch for the MEAC. Of course, we know that they've been to the most recent NCAA tournaments representing the MEAC. Somewhere, someday, I'm not sure when, my South Carolina State Bulldogs will be able to get back there, but they're projected to be eighth. And I think that this is our year. We are going to shock some people. We are not going to be last this season. But Howard and Norfolk State are tied for first in the MEAC. So that will be really interesting to see how that shakes out. Kiera rounding out the MEAC first team, Destiny Howell, like you mentioned, of Howard, Tiana Walker of Howard, Layla Lawrence of Coppin, Kiara Wheeler, Big Kiki from Norfolk State, along with Diamond Johnson from Norfolk State. So they have a lot of names here, and to some extent, like some notable names also to that are really like holding it down in the MEAC. I have another question. I don't think she went to a MEAC school, but the young lady who pulled down 44 rebounds from Francis Marion. Do you remember where she ended up transferring, Yana?
Mm-mm. And don't.
Let me see. Francis Marion, 44 rebounds. I want to know. I want to see what she's going to do in her new conference because that'll be really exciting to see if she can go and have that sort of dominance there too. It takes a lot for anyone to get 44 rebounds, male or female, and so shouts out to her. Do y'all have any sleepers coming through any conferences that we mentioned? SEC, MEAC, Big 10, Big 12, etc.
Ooh.
I
Oh,
got
she
one.
went to Florida Gulf Coast. That's gonna be good for her.
Can I put on for the home team again? I'm,
Oh,
I'm rolling with my Georgetown Hoyas.
oh, I thought you were about to say Maryland.
Oh no, I'm so sorry. I mean, no, I didn't mean it like that. Merlin gonna be straight. Like we gonna be good. Like I'm excited to see how the pieces work. But in terms of like a team I'm excited for is Georgetown. Like obviously they signed coach after he did a great job as an interim after everything that team went through,
Mm-hmm.
and they made their first Big East championship last year. So like that
And they
was
were
the
just
best
on the
team they've
outside
had
looking in.
since. That's the best team they've had since Sugar Rogers was there. So like I'm excited. I think Georgetown is gonna surprise some people.
Mm. Okay. So we're gonna put that on the bulletin board. Georgia.
Uh, in the SEC, I think that I actually think Vanderbilt might surprise some teams this year. I like what Shay Ralph got going on over there, so I'm interested to see what she can do.
I like that because that's been what they've been every year. They've been gradually improving, and then they made a tournament last year, and so where do you see them falling?
Oh, I don't know about all that. I just know that they will surprise them. Like I can see them getting some big wins, like knocking off a top team or two. Um, like getting some signature wins in the SEC this year.
Okay, so maybe middle of the pack SEC.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, it's not bad, not bad. Who you got coming? Who in the Big Ten?
Ooh. I think Maryland's kind of slept on a little bit with the like I'm a fan of Brenda Freeze and how she figures shit out. I don't know how she does it, but she typically figures stuff out, and I think that they had a really good transfer portal. So I think that Maryland, if Brenda can do what she does, Maryland can definitely make something shake in the Big Ten.
Come on, three
Um,
home teams.
who else is in the Big Ten now? I think
It's at
Iowa.
Washington, Oregon, Iowa.
I think Iowa will do better than people expect. I know that with Caitlin gone, Kate Martin's gone, Gabby Marshall's gone, it's fair to be like, but I think that we'll probably see a team versus it relying on one person, and I think they'll do better than what people expect them to do. I don't think they're gonna win it, but I think they'll do better.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, like they've been. You go to two, Final Fours. You battle tested. If nothing
Yeah,
else,
I
they
like
got.
what I saw from Stokey, her growth last year, and then they got a sniper. What's the little sniper name that they ended up getting on their roster? Can't remember her name. Her name escapes me, but she was someone a lot of people wanted in the portal, and they ended up getting her. So
Okay,
I
I
think they'll
have.
be in a good place.
We're going to move from there and go to the ACC. And I want to see this was one of our favorite coaches last year, Coach Jack. I'm interested to see what Syracuse looks like this season after Daisha.
Ooh, yeah, that's a
They
really good point.
they brought in Journey from Arizona State and Velez from LSU. And while we know LSU, Velez may not have gotten a lot of minutes at LSU, um, I think there was some good tape out there of her, of course, during the circuit and things like that. And she got the experience of being in that culture at LSU. So will that translate over to the ACC for Coach Jack at Syracuse? That's still yet to be seen. But that could be a pretty interesting team as well. And we know that ACC has added SMU, Stanford, and Cal. So who do we think that conference will run through this season?
Damn, Stanford about to be so different, bro.
Yeah.
Who does the ACC run through? I
No Bobs on the
I,
sideline.
I think Notre Dame,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hidalgo, Olivia, Citron.
and they got Kate Caval. I think it's Caval. She's a freshman, but she's a big and she can hoop. Like
That's the
she
one we watched in that what was that? That All-Star game thing, Yana?
Yeah, it was like the U.S. versus the
Yeah, yeah,
world,
yeah.
and she was on the world, and she
Yeah.
was lighting the U.S. ass up. Like she can hoop, man. Like she's a bucket. And they've been needing a big, like a consistent big, and she's young, so she'll have her, her moments. But if they can get what they need to get out of her, she'll be real nice for them.
Hold on.
So
We not being Jai disrespectful though to NC State.
Mm,
what does their big
I'm going to
situation
say
look like?
no because I think that NC State and Notre Dame pretty much handled NC State for the majority of the season.
I know, but
And
I'm just saying only one of them teams got to the Final Four last year, and it was the one with Isaiah James.
And you saw what
yeah,
happened to them in the second half of that
Okay,
Final
all
Four.
right.
but I do think but we all also agreed that that little unit or that quadrant was probably the easier and more wide open quadrant. Like no, like what NC State did was amazing, but Notre Dame literally had to go through Oregon State, who was playing really, really well. And if they went through Oregon State, they would have had to play South Carolina, who obviously was South Carolina. So it was never an option for them to even make it out of that
Not
quadrant.
America's team beat the Catholics.
And I still think that nose ring thing fucked Hannah Hidalgo up.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That is
I don't know if
true.
they win, but I think that kind of messed with her a little bit, that nose
Because she
ring
was out of the
situation.
game for about it got stuck, right? She was out of the game for about 6 minutes.
Yeah,
She
because
was
they
out for a
get it
while.
right.
They had like the pliers and shit trying to like they were over there damn near surgical tools trying to yank that thing out her nose.
Okay, so I know this has come up in conversation before. Is this a put up or shut up year for um Carl Luther King?
Yes. I don't think they have to win, but they definitely, especially with how they ended last season, right? You beat Ohio State, so you're headed in the right direction. You came across UConn and you lost, but you did what you went on the road and you beat Ohio State in Ohio State, right? Then you bring in a really good freshman class. You bring Reagan Richardson, she's back. Like
Reaganomics.
you have the pieces. So right now it's up to you. Like if they don't win the ACC, it's not the end of the world, but you don't need to be sitting in the middle of the pack of the ACC either. You need to be at the top with the Notre Dames, the NC State. You need to be battling for one throughout the entire season. Like you shouldn't be out of one early in the season because you done lost like 4 or 5 games.
Okay. And what do we think about Baddies Miami or Baddies South Beach?
That
How
video got me crying. Them folks saying it ain't no studs, they losing every game.
because remember this is also a first season for Trisha. She was the head coach at Toledo, so this is her debut in the big leagues. So do we think that she's going to come out, have something to prove, and show that she can really coach this? I know there was some criticism of her recruiting style, and would she be able to make that adjustment? Similar to the new Lady Vol coach, like when you're at a mid-major, sometimes there's a leap in the type of talent that you have access to and or recruit. So do you think that that's why she probably lifted a lot of those people out of the portal to come to Miami to give her a chance to be able to recruit some of the next crop?
Dang, she ain't even coached yet. Y'all calling her Kelly Price Jr.? Kelly Price. What's her name? What is Kelly?
Harper. I
Yeah.
mean, wait, what's the maid? Was it Harper or Jolly? Which one was the maiden name? Well, yeah, Harper, Kelly Harper.
I mean, I'm
They
interested to
got the
see.
twins back.
The Cavender twins is back.
Yep, they back, both
Oh
of them.
yeah, baddies. Post for me.
They also got I keep saying Natalie. She was at Notre Dame. Um, she was at Notre Dame. She was at Notre Dame. Natalia. Natalia Marshall. They brought Darian Rogers from Mississippi State. They got Lamaya Hilton from Arizona. So they brought in some experience. They brought in Cameron Williams from Michigan. So they got players from the SEC, the Big Ten, ACC. So they brought in some talented and some actual really good pieces that played on tournament teams. So do you think that could help her in her first year?
I don't have no expectations for them. Just go out there and hoop. If it's a good year, it's a good year. If it's not, it's not.
Yeah, they actually in a good spot. Yana's right, because it's like people not going to expect much. So if you go out there and do what you got to do, people going to be surprised. And if you don't, it's going to be like, all right, this year one.
Okay, okay. All right. Who else do you all think it needs to be a big year for them? I've heard and seen Nell Fortner's name before.
Oh, at Georgia Tech?
Yeah.
I forgot she was still there.
Yeah, she hasn't been to the tournament since 2022. She made it her first 2 years back on the job, but hasn't been since then. And so it's like, okay, what next?
I mean, I was going to say Kelly Graves, but I don't know what's going on over at Oregon. So
Mm,
Him for certain. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. He
All right.
definitely gotta figure his shit out.
And we're gonna wait to see what the Pac-2 looks like with Oregon State and Washington State. We do know that they'll be playing a West Coast Conference heavy schedule in basketball until I guess the Pac-12 or however many left resumes in 2026. And so, are there any other mid-major teams or any other teams who we may not have mentioned that you all are looking forward to having a big year? A Marquette, a Villanova, Penn
I think
State.
player wise, I'm looking forward to Harmony Turner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I really want to see what she does this year because I really think she could shoot up some draft boards and surprise some people.
Does
Yeah.
Harvard play any? Do they play like any? I know last year they played Baylor, and that's when she got on my radar. Like I watched it, but when she was hooping versus Baylor, I was like, "Oh, she can go." All right, looking at their schedule, they play Indiana, so that should be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
For her to get her name out there. Boston College, St. John's, maybe.
Northwestern.
Uh, I think Indiana's
Northwestern.
gonna be the game for her to
Yeah.
really, go to work. But Ivy League wise, I think, Princeton's always good. Princeton's usually like at the top, but I wouldn't be shocked if
We
Harvard kind
Columbia.
of get in the
Remember,
mix.
it's been
Yeah,
Columbia the
Princeton
past
and
couple of
Columbia.
years.
But before she got hurt, she was hooping.
Okay. So let's see, is that Columbia game? Let's look and see what Columbia's schedule looks like this season. Especially, we know they were left out of the 2023 tournament. I think
Oh
they were like one of
yeah.
the last teams, and then so they were able to make it this year. I think they played Vandy in the first round, and so this season, let's see who they have.
They
They
play
have
Villanova. They play Indiana too. Duke.
Providence, Florida Gulf Coast, Indiana. They actually are in the battle for Atlantis. They got Southern Miss, and then I'm not sure who else. Duke. Yeah, so they have some pretty decent games. They said, "Oh, you're going to see us this year," so that'll be pretty interesting. And that's a 2 p.m. game in Duke. I mean, in Durham. So that's usually a TV, like a national TV spot. I'm not sure if it will be, but I won't be surprised if that's one on national TV, December 1st, Sunday at 2 p.m. So we'll keep our eyes out on that.
It's showing
Um,
ACC Network on ESPN.
uh, okay. I mean, it's not bad. Not bad. All right. So, any other questions? Anyone in the audience? Anything you want to get off your heart before we carry on with the rest of our week?
Oh,
We
I just want to say the player's name for Iowa is Lucy Olson. Thank you to everyone in the comments. Didn't want to dismiss her, but she's a bucket. She's a sniper. So,
Is that headband?
no.
Headband is done, right?
Yes.
Okay. They lost a lot. Did they get
They
any
did.
Did they get any transfers in?
Lucy Olson. And she
Where
can
she come?
shoot.
Where she
She
come
can light
from?
it up. Now, let's see. This is not. Hold on, let me
Oh, she
look.
came from Villanova.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
Iowa
The
State. I'm really
sniper.
excited to see them this season. I'm really excited to see Iowa State and to see what they
Oh,
do, especially with
yeah.
Pouty. That's going to be a really good fun one.
that game when they play y'all is gonna be so much fun.
It
Ooh.
is. It gonna stress me out, but I'm
I mean,
excited.
but like Raven versus Emily Ryan, man. Like
Mm.
that's like point guard. Like if you want to be a point guard in college, this the game for you to watch.
I'm excited about that. Yana, you going to Florida for Thanksgiving?
Mm, And not, no.
I'm gonna have to
Crying.
make
She
a.
said, "Hell no."
Cause who they got? That's Purdue and Iowa State, right?
Oh, I have no idea. I just know Iowa State's one of the games, and I'm gonna be in front of my TV watching.
I
Clearly
might be.
rooting for South Carolina, but Iowa State has a soft spot in my heart. I like that team, so I'll
I'm gonna be
be
stuffing a
softly
turkey. So
cheering for when Audie like knocks Sanaya on her ass or something because she's so damn strong. I'm honestly trying to figure out who's going to guard her. I'm excited to see I think they're gonna have to utilize Adele a lot this year. You can't coach height, right? So I
Okay, and
think,
we gonna get a shoot off between Addie Brown and Pow Pow.
yeah, shit, or Tessa.
Oh yeah, and Tessa, yeah, that's gonna be a good game. I'm excited for this season. Like I think we got a lot of teams that had the potential to be great, but I don't think there's like a oh shit, this person's just gonna beat the blood out of everybody, and I think that's exciting. Y'all know what I mean?
Yeah.
yeah,
We know
a lot of the
UConn got a
teams.
good schedule. I'm excited to see the UConn and Southern Cal game. I think that's gonna be really good. I want to see Juju get her lick back.
Where is it? Is it in Connecticut or in
It's
LA?
in Connecticut.
Oh,
Yeah. The
But I don't think
US
they got nobody that can guard Kiki Erioffin if we're being completely honest. Like UConn still has a lot of youth in the post position, and I think if SoCal can exploit that Kiki Erioffin matchup, it'll be interesting.
Yana, I'm gonna have to take a page out of your book. Oh, it pains me to say, but based on our conversation about Coach of the Year last year with Coach G, I think that we're gonna find out a lot about what her capabilities are as a head coach with talent.
Yeah,
And it's gonna be like, okay, is it just we gonna feed it to Jew and let her do her thing, or we gonna try to really incorporate this and make this an incredible
because
team?
y'all got some good pieces. Like Kennedy Smith, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of
Woo,
hers.
Juju twin.
Yeah, literally, literally.
Juju twin. But yeah, and we got what? That's the best freshman class in the country coming in. And
Hmm.
then what you call it is up there too. Uh TVO.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think I hate to admit that you was right, but I think this year we gonna have to tap in on the coach's side.
you gonna have to put the clipboard to work.
Yeah.
so another team we haven't touched since we're talking about a collection of talent, not necessarily the same caliber or the same amount of talent that they've been able to garner, but TCU. Do we see them making any noise? Because in their defense, last season, before the injuries, they were firmly a tournament team. So
They
do
were
we see?
firmly not playing anybody either.
Oh.
What? Their preseason, like their schedule sucked. Like it was awful. It was like every time I watched TCU, I was like, I gotta wait until they play somebody. And then when I look at their schedule, it's like, well, shit, they don't play nobody until the damn Big 12 start. And then by then,
Was Sedona
people are
able to make
injured.
it? Was she able to make it to Big 12 play?
Mm-mm. Nope.
Dang.
I got a hot take though. I think Haley Van Lith will be in the Player of the Year conversation.
I
So
can
this is
see. I think she's gonna have a good
redemption
bounce
year.
back year with them for
Like I
sure.
think she's gonna be really, really good this year.
Well,
Ooh,
this
and
year
that's
we'll know about TCU early this year. This year they play NC State early. They play them on the 17th of November. They play Notre Dame on the 29th of November. And they play South Carolina on the 8th of December. So we'll know some about them way earlier than we did last year.
I'm
That's
crying.
for certain.
I know HBO gonna have nightmares before that South Carolina game. God damn it! Not late Malaysia again. Ah, damn it!
she has had to face South Carolina every year for the past. Okay, maybe not 20. Did she play them in 2022, 23? I know she played them in the Final Four. She's played them at least 3 times over the past few years. So, and it's always been a different cat. So it's going to be quite interesting. Yeah, but I do agree. I think that this could be a redemption year for her. How far that redemption goes, we're not sure. But I think she will definitely be in the running for Big 12 because also they lost two big teams. They lost Oklahoma and Texas. Now they added Colorado, Utah, Arizona and Arizona State. So that will be interesting to see what those battles are like. I'm looking forward to seeing an Arizona versus a TCU, along with a Baylor versus TCU, because they all have those small, quick guards.
Yeah.
Overtime, Jada.
hmm who was pulling the buckets against Virginia Tech? Is she still there or did she graduate? Um, was it Andrews, Sarah Andrews?
Oh, for Baylor?
Yeah,
Nah, it was the little one from Kentucky, right? Can't remember her name.
Jada. I
Yeah,
know
Jada. They got a Jada too. Sorry. Stop. Yeah.
it's too many. Like the boys got Jalen, it's too many Jadas.
But yes, Baylor is Big 12 to me is so wide open because I think, Ioka when Kansas State what Kansas State was able to do without Ioka last year was a pleasant surprise. And then when you add her back into the fold, if she's healthy, she's been a tough guard for almost every team in the Big 12. But Baylor, they've started to cook at the end of the season and they got Von Lay. And I like Von Lay.
Yeah, I was just about to
So
say.
like they got Von Lay now, and I'm like, ooh, like yeah, Von Lay might give up size versus Ioka, but strength wise, she can push her out that paint a little bit. So
Yeah, and Vonleh was really, really good playing with Jalen. I'm excited to see because it's Sarah Andrews and it's Jada Walker, and then in
yeah,
the paint is who is Little Page Bugs. Yeah, like Baylor gonna be straight.
Okay. So Nikki Collins for Big 12 Coach of the Year is what y'all saying?
I mean it's a possibility, but Iowa State right there too,
I'm
man.
about to say not over my dog, Mr. Whoville.
Are there any more Joneses left?
One, but isn't she not with Iowa State though? She plays for somebody else.
She left. That's right. She left. Okay. Okay. Well, I don't see any hands raised, so that's going to be all for today. We know that the finals will resume with Game 3 in Minnesota on Wednesday, so we're all excited and looking forward to that. This has been a calm, not lie, this is Monday. It hasn't been calm, but we're not going to yeah. So yes, just keep it locked here. We could see other coaching announcements be made with hires and possible departures, whether mutual or etc. So keep your eyes locked. We're not sure exactly who's going to go to Atlanta, LA, and I think those are the only in Chicago. So we'll see if those announcements come this week, or rumor has it that Chicago could be waiting for someone that's still currently coaching in the finals. You didn't hear that from me. I'm not the one to gossip. So, as always, thank you for tuning in. Thank us for speaking. You have an amazing rest of your Monday. Peace.